What's going on, guys? It's Will with Military Lawn Cuts, and we are live on a Saturday. Welcome, everybody. I was going to do a podcast this morning, but had to rearrange some of these schedules. So, figured I'd jump on and do a live Q&A here. I'm trying to get us live over here on Facebook, and so give me a second here as I try to set up the video on the Facebook side of things, because last time we did this, it did not actually go live. So we missed probably about 20 minutes in the beginning of not going live. And so I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again here. So let me just see. Sorry, we're going to have a little bit of a hiccup here until we can get this thing rocking and rolling. Let me jump back into StreamYard and see. And in the meantime, if you guys do have questions, go ahead and put it in the comments below. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let's see here. All right. This Facebook thing gets me every time. There's always something with it. Oh man, it's so funny. Let's see. If I can't get it in the next probably minute or two, we're probably just going to roll with it on the YouTube channel. Let me see here. Discard and exit. Let me actually see if we are live on Facebook. So I see this. It just doesn't let me go live for whatever reason. I don't understand. Copy the URL for your event to share with others. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is weird. This is some weird stuff. Super weird stuff. Facebook changed some things, so it's not as intuitive as it probably should be. Unfortunately. Yeah. So I apologize for all the people in the Facebook group. Oh man, this is kind of annoying that this is going to happen, but stream setup, like go live. How do we go live here? Advanced settings, persistent key stream, whatever. All right. I apologize for anybody that is watching. Let's do this. I will post the YouTube link. So let me go to YouTube real quick. I'll grab the link and I'll throw it in there. So that way anybody that is watching on that side, they can at least pull it. Give me like 30 more seconds here and then we can jump into it. Let's see. So let's share, copy, and then we want to go back to Facebook and go to this and then join us on YouTube. I couldn't get the Facebook live video going. Join here. All right. Perfect. So let me just make sure that posts. Okay, perfect. All right. So everybody, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on your Saturday. I know there's probably a million things that you could be doing other than watching myself here on a live stream, but you are the 1%. You are the people that want to learn and grow. And so let me throw this banner up here, but we are doing a live Q&A session. So I do want to kind of go through just a little bit and share some stuff with you. Try to hopefully bring value to you guys, because that is the whole goal of this. I find fulfillment in helping other people, especially when there's no monetary exchange. This is completely free. So obviously I do have like a paid coaching call out there for anybody that wants to get one-on-one consulting, but I always tell people just jump into live Q&As. I get asked so many questions on how to build a business, how to get started. And this is your guys' opportunity to ask questions. So the topic today is going to be how I started my lawn care business. Now, before I jump in and actually tell you my story on how I got started, I think what's more important is to explain the why. behind what I did. And I think if you guys really dig deep and get to the root of your why, it will help you in your decision making to really allow you to take the path that you're meant to be, right? Also, if you guys are watching, I know we got some live viewers. Please let me know in the comments if you guys can hear me okay. I just want to make sure the audio is good. So I wanted to start off. These are the 5 reasons why I started a lawn care business. The very first reason why I started my lawn care business, before I tell you how I started a lawn care business, we have to understand why. Why do I want to start a lawn care business? Why do I want to be a business owner? And really, the number one reason was I wanted to be my own boss. I had served in the military. For anybody that doesn't know, I was a paratrooper, jumped out of airplanes, and I was a 25 Bravo IT specialist in the United States Army. I served for roughly 6 years, almost 6 years, and did a lot of cool things. I deployed to Iraq, went to South Korea. I went to Romania in Europe. And so I did a lot of things. I traveled a lot and met a lot of great people. It was a great experience. But ultimately, what I found is in the military, you are owned by the government. And so, they can come out tomorrow and be like, hey, man, pack your bags. You're going to Afghanistan, and you don't really have a say, right? They tell you to jump and you ask how high. And so I really wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to be somebody to tell me what to do. And so that was really my biggest factor of like why I started a business. I wanted to be my own boss. The second reason why I started a business was, to be honest, for me, it was really easy to get started. When I was a young kid, my dad actually allowed me to use the residential mower that we had to go door to door and cut people's lawns for money. And so gracefully, I think he planted the entrepreneurial seed inside of me to go door to door and ask people, hey, can I mow your lawn? And so for me, when I got out of the military, I was like, I know how to go and try to find lawns to cut. So like, let's do that. Like as an entrepreneur, for me, it was very easy to get started because I had done it at a very young age when I was only 12 or 13. He would literally drive me to the properties. The third thing why I started a lawn care business is because, to be honest, I feel like I'm pretty passionate about like area beautification. And so like I think I'm more passionate about the business and like helping other people succeed and build a business without them. But ultimately speaking, like the area beautification to me, I really liked. I liked seeing those stripes in the lawn. I liked seeing taking an overgrown flower bed and transforming that to a well manicured landscape. To me, that was very satisfying to see that process, even with weed control these days, with like us going out and spraying lawns and fertilizing lawns. I find that I enjoy it. I like seeing that transformation of the area beautification. For me, it's satisfying. And so that was the third reason why I picked lawn care, right? And the fourth thing of why I started a lawn care business was, ultimately speaking, the goal was to build an asset that generates cash flow. So that way I don't have to be the one pushing the mower all the time. So that way I can spend more time. I can get my time back to go and spend it with the people that I love, my wife, my family, my mom, my sister, like, and do the stuff that I wanted to do in life instead of working a freaking 9 to 5 job every single day in a cubicle. Look, I could have easily went and made $75,000, $80,000 a year doing IT. That's what I did in the Army. But I didn't want that. I didn't want to work for the rest of my life for 40-hour work weeks. It's not what I was passionate about. I wasn't helping people. And so for me, spending more time with my wife was the driving factor of why I wanted to start a lawn care business. Now, the fifth one, which I kind of realized once we started it, and it's a seasonal business. I actually like that aspect of it. Most people are like, yeah, but then what do you do in the wintertime? It slows down. It's hard to make money. And I'm like, that sounds glorious to me because believe it or not, in the beginning, when I first started, I actually did a lot of real estate and wholesaling. And so what I found was in wholesaling, when you're flipping these real estate contracts and you're getting these calls, these people call in the morning, in the evening, during lunch, like on a Saturday, on a Sunday. And if you miss that call, that could cost you $10,000 to $15,000 on a contract flip. What I like about lawn care is when the sun goes down, there's no more grass to mow, guys. It's dark out. Like there's nothing else that we need to mow. And on Sundays, like we shut the phones off. Like there's no more phone calls coming in. So I like the seasonal aspect of it. I like how in the winter time frame it slows down. Why? Christmas is coming, fall is coming. It's the time that we can focus on our family. In fact, so much so that in the wintertime, we go down to 4-day work weeks. We have every Friday off in December, January, and February. I tell these guys, it is glorious, guys, to work at a company that you literally can work 4-day work weeks throughout the winter. It's amazing. Like I would love that to get my time back if I worked at a company, you know? So those are the 5 reasons. To sum it up, we have, I wanted to be my own boss. For me, it was very easy to get started. You just get a mower on Facebook Marketplace and get started. Number 3 is I really enjoyed the area beautification of seeing that transformation of the lawns. Number 4, I wanted to spend more time with my family and do other things that I wanted to do. If I wanted to go out on a boat on a Saturday, I wanted to do that, or like midweek. I remember when I first started and I was only working part-time, I worked literally like 3 days a week. It was amazing. I had so much time back by owning my own business. And so obviously things can change as you grow and scale, but like the ultimate goal should be to build a business that can run without you. Like that's the whole reason we are building a business. And then number 5, it's seasonal. So it's not 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. You're not grinding as hard as you can. Like, can you imagine if you were like an IT company and just all year, except for like maybe Christmas time, it slows down, but you're just like grinding and constantly marketing and like, to me, that would be pretty draining. I am one to like, let's grind and work hard. Let's work 12, 14-hour days. And then let's like relax for a second. Right. So those are the 5 reasons I got started. We're going to get into the tactful ways of how I actually got started. But before that, we got some questions coming in. Instead of waiting all the way to the end to do Q&A, I'm actually going to kind of hang out with you guys for 50 minutes or so. So, Great Scott said, I'll be retiring soon from 37 years of government service. That's amazing, man. I hope you, hopefully you like get a pension from that. That would be amazing. And then if you can start your own business, that would be cool. I'm interested in getting into the lawn business in the Metroplex. Thanks for doing live streams. Absolutely, brother. If you got any questions, let me know. All right. Easy Lawn Care said, do you guys require fertilizer program with lawn mowing? If so, when and how did you implement that? Looking to put a bottleneck on mowing, higher margin of fertilizer and easier to fulfill. So you have the right mindset, my friend. I think this works really, really well if you're in areas that have HOAs. So for our territories, we have a ton of houses that have HOAs. So for us, because the HOA will get on them for weeds in the lawn, and it's a higher margin service, I would recommend pushing that hardcore. A lot of people, what's crazy is a lot of people are like, Will, why wouldn't you just offer just mowing? And, they're like, you could grow so much faster. And I'm like, okay, yes, you can grow top line, but my focus is building a long-term relationship with good paying customers that when we upsell something or we get on their property, there's not tons of dog poop. Or when we upsell something, like they book. And so for that, we didn't want to keep growing the lower margin service. There is an argument to be said that people be like, well, if you get them for mowing, then you can upsell them for weed control down the road. Not all the time. Not all the time. You're going to get those types of customers. It's hard. It's a lot harder to sell the weekly. Like if they're not on the weed control program, it's like, how do you sell them like, hey, we only do weekly mowing if the lawn's not needing it because it's not getting fertilized and it's not getting watered properly? The customers that we onboard are the ones that have that full service. And so let's see. Sorry, I beat around the bush route a lot, but looking to put a bottleneck on mowing. Okay, that's exactly why we implemented it as well. We didn't want to have 500 mowing customers. It's a lot of admin cost. I'd rather have 250 mowing customers and weed control customers. They have both. It's way easier to build a business on the admin side that you have both of those services and you have half as many customers, because the cost of that paying customer obviously almost doubles. It's not always double, but you definitely get more revenue, and you are able to get more like multi upsells. Why? Because they're great customers. Fungicides, if you're doing that, all that good stuff. So the way that we sell it is when a customer calls, we just say, hey, look, we're a military, they're like, hey, I want mowing services. Okay, great. We offer recurring mowing services. However, I did want to let you know, we are a little bit different than most lawn care companies in the fact, with us being military, we do strive to bring the best quality we can to our customers. And the way that we found to do that is through both our mowing and weed control services. So much so that we actually don't offer just mowing by itself. All of our customers have our mowing and weed control services, so that way our lawns can look the best. So if you have any weeds in the yard, we could definitely get you a quote for that. Or, are you just looking for strictly mowing services? And to be honest, 9 times out of 10, when you pin them up into the corner like that, they're like, well, I do have some weeds in my yard. What's the price? And then you give them the price. And a lot of times you can just upsell them there. It's very, very easy. Trust me, especially if you're in HOA. That's why I started it. If you're not in HOA, it might be a little bit of a harder sell, but definitely worth the try. All right. Another question from Easy Lawn Care. What was your biggest struggle in the wilderness, as Mike calls it? We're struggling with cash on hand. Currently bill daily, so cash flow is good. All right. That's phenomenal. You do want to bill every single day. I think our biggest problem off the top of my head that I can think of, and there's probably like 100 things. Number one, when you're going through the wilderness, you're like still figuring out how to build a business. So give yourself a lot of grace. It's crazy. Employees don't listen. Customers are wild. Like, you're still figuring out your scope of work and dialing everything in. So give yourself a lot of grace. That's normal. It's very normal for you to feel that way, overwhelmed and all that stuff. I think our biggest problem was we were hiring B and C players, mainly C, and we thought they were B players. We were hiring C players and we thought they were B players. And then the quality on the properties was pretty much bad. Like, our guys were getting like yellow slips, like, and complaints. Like, one guy would get 3 or 4 complaints a week. That was just our standard. And we just didn't know. Like, we didn't know what we didn't know. Like, nowadays, if a guy gets 2 slips in a week, that's a problem. Like, we say 0 slips. We'll allow 1 out of, 5 days a week, 10 properties a day. That's 50 visits for one guy. We'll allow 1 complaint from that. But like back in the day, we were allowing 4 times as much. Like, we just didn't have our processes dialed in. And then pricing or cash, we were definitely strapped for cash. You want to probably look at your admin costs, make sure that your admin costs, this includes like your office person, your rent, your utilities, and software, like anything that supports like the admin that doesn't really make you money. That stuff should be accounted for under 10% of your income, and collected income, not what the CRM says, but like actual money that hits the bank in QuickBooks, less than 10%. You want to make sure that that's good too. All right. Easy Lawn Care. How did your close ratio get affected? I think we sat, it ranges. When we were in the wilderness, our close ratio was all over the place. I mean, we had it as low as 25% when we raised prices to like 100 to 120 an hour. And we learned real quick that our market does not sustain that. And so we were down to like 22 to 25% at some point. And then we were also upwards to like 50, 60%. But ideally, I think in a healthy business, depending on whether you're in growth mode or profit mode, it's going to change. So Obviously, you want to get through the wilderness as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Um, what we also did, in fact, I just put out a video for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. I highly, highly recommend going and watching it. It it's the last video I just posted of basically cutting services. And so I show you guys year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 of military lawn cuts, the growth structure on each year. And you'll find in there, I think it was year number 4, we cut out a lot of our like services because we were just trying to grow top line. And we actually went backwards a year and went backwards about $80,000, I think it was. And like most people would be freaking out about that. Like, oh my goodness, we went backwards. But what we found was when we really focused on the core services that we wanted, like we weren't running around like a chicken with our head cut off. We weren't trying to pay admin and overhead. If we were going to stay on the same trajectory, we would have needed like 3 or 4 people in the office to do like over $1 million in sales. Like it just wouldn't have been sustainable. And so, and that's why I said, like, when you're in the wilderness, you're still trying to figure out your systems. You're still trying to figure that out. And it's okay. It's crazy. Just know that, like, it gets wild. It definitely gets wild. So, all right. Okay. So Caden Summer said, I'm sorry, guys. See, I'm slacking here. Man, you guys need to let me know about this. I am slacking. I'm not even putting the comments up on the screen for you guys to see. My goodness, you guys got to hold me accountable. You guys got to hold me accountable to a high standard. All right. Caden Summer, now that we can all see the comments, I'm so sorry about that. I really would like to push for more mowing clients right now. Is it just going to be a waste of marketing dollars this time in the season? Right now, I do like 50 yards a week. Ideally, I'd be at 70. You're pretty much in the same boat that we are with our second location right now. We just started our second location and we're up to about 71 customers. I really want to get it to about 100 this year. And so what we are doing is anytime that we have left over, we are still doing door hangers. So we sat down and calculated our customer acquisition cost and figured out that we had to pay, I think it was $150 to $200 during the spring rush to acquire, which the volume wasn't there, just so everybody knows. We definitely needed more data, but ideally, it was a decent approach to try to get new customers. And so what we're still doing is our 5 rounds. If we're in a new area, we'll do a 9 round, which is basically, if you look at the house, you do the house on the left, house on the right, and then the 3 across the street. That would be a 5 round. You put a door hanger on their house. So that way they see your truck. Now there's a door hanger there, and then hopefully they jump on the internet and find you on Google as well. So you're touch pointing them multiple times. We just expanded to a slightly new territory for the second location because we're prepping to build out for our third location, and we're going to be doing 9 rounds over there. We do that all year. We probably stop doing that in like the fall time frame because like the customer acquisition cost gets really, really expensive. But what I'm saying is like you don't need to be doing like thousands and thousands of door hangers. All right, like just put some out. You'll get calls and you'll slowly organically grow it. So if you're at 50 yards a week and you just do like every one of those stops, just do a 5 round or do a 9 round if you have the time, you'll probably pick up 2 to 3 to 4 customers over the next couple of weeks by doing that. So hopefully that helps. All right, easy lawn care. So when implementing the fertilizer program with mowing close ratio. Oh, okay, I got you. It does affect it, just so everybody knows. I would say that it probably affects it about 10%, about 5 to 10%. If I had to put a hard point number on it, I believe it's about 10% because some people don't want the weed control. And to be honest, we don't send them an estimate. So it's those guys that are on the fence and they're like, well, what's the cost for it? Like they're just money. Like, right off the bat, I'll just tell them like it's not going to be cheaper. Like it's 2 separate services and now you're paying for both. So like you calling me and being like, hey, I want the cheapest price for recurring mowing services. And me telling you like, hey, you have to have our weed control service to get on our program. Simply because we want the best looking lawns on the block. Like the ones that are kind of on the fence are like, well, what's the price? And I kind of like, I try to push them away and steer them away. I'm like, well, it's not going to be any cheaper. It's going to be actually more expensive. And so, Yeah, you want to vet them. You want to vet them properly. So if you vet them properly, but I think probably about 5 to 10%. I think there's about 5 to 10% that you'll like if we didn't require weed control, yeah, instead of our close ratio being at 35%, it might be at 40 or 45%. But just monitor that very, very closely. So all right, we got through the questions. So if you guys have questions, keep putting them in the comments below. Let me go ahead and throw this down. I'm going to continue my spiel on how I got started in the lawn care business. For anybody that doesn't know, I was a paratrooper in the United States Army for 6 years, and I was an IT specialist. So we got out, we moved to Texas, and my wife and I are like, hey, what do we do? How do we get started? And she used to help her mother in the garden and like pull weeds and stuff like that. And I obviously, like I said earlier, when I was 12 or 13, my dad gave me a mower to like go door to door and try to get some new lawns, right? And so that's what I did. And when we got out of the military, we literally just printed off some flyers. They were literally like a piece of paper. We would slip them into the doors and we just went door to door. And that was very like, humbling in the beginning. Like, we didn't have the best equipment. We didn't have the best mowers and all that stuff. And we just got started. So um, hopefully, that helps. I think in the first year we did about 20,000 in sales. It was just me. I was just putting door hangers out. And what I want to share with you guys is like, with the door hanger stuff, it's so simple. Like spring, summer, fall, it doesn't matter. It's going to work if you put the volume out. Like the volume is what matters. A lot of people go out and they get like 1,000 flyers and they put them out and they don't get anywhere. They don't get a ton of customers and they're like, "Will, it didn't work." And I'm like, "Well, how many flyers did you put out?" And they're like 1,000. And I'm like, "Okay, well, we probably need to add a zero on that because a lot of people underestimate the effort it takes to get started in any aspect or in business, right? They underestimate how many people they're going to have to interview to make a good hire or to find an A player. They underestimate how many flyers they have to put out or how many customers they're going to need to get. And or how much money they need to get started. Like a lot of people underestimate that stuff. And so there's a really good book out there called the 10X Rule. Um, in fact, I have it probably behind me. I don't know if you guys could see the bookshelf. I do a lot of reading. Lately, it's a lot of audiobooks, but there's a book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Phenomenal book. It just resets your mind, man. Like, I'll share another real life example. Actually, I was talking to a buddy of mine. His name's Brandon Muse. He owns Simply Lawn Care. They're going to do about $1 million in sales this year. And I called him and I'm like, "Hey man, like our insurance costs are like double what yours is for our auto insurance, our general liability insurance and stuff like that." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Well, did you get any quotes from like brokers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I reached out to a couple and then I got quotes." He ran like 5 or 6 companies and got me like the best quote. And he's like, "Well, dude, that's your problem." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like I reached out to a broker. They pulled 6 different companies and got the lowest one for me. He's like, "I reached out to 30 insurance brokers. You reached out to one." And I was like, "Whoa." I was like, "How the heck did you do that?" And he's like, "I put all of my documentation on the drivers and the truck and the insurance and everything. I put it in a Google Drive and I picked up the phone and I called 30 insurance brokers that I found on Google. And guess how many got back to me?" And I was like, "I don't know how many." He's like, "Half." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "From there, I sent them the link and about 8 of them actually got back to me. And out of those 8, about 5 to 6 of them all gave me basically the same, but there was one insurance company out of that group that basically got his insurance down to almost half. He saved like I think he was paying like maybe $20,000 or something like that, or upwards of like $22,000. And he was able to get down to close to half of that because he took the time and reached out to 30 insurance brokers, where most people like you and I are like, "Yeah, let me just call one insurance broker and see." And so it's the 10X mindset. Whatever you think effort wise, or how many people you have to reach out to, or how many interviews you need to do, or how many door hangers you need to put out a day, 10x it. However many door hangers you need to send out each year, 10x it. That's what we did in our spring rush in our second year. In my mind, I was like, hey, Larissa, like we need to do 10,000 flyers. And then I listened to the 10x rule and I was like, oh, snap, we need to pump up our volume. Like, and I think we ended up doing like, I think 40 or 50,000. We didn't get quite the 10x times, but it exercised my brain to think larger and outside of the box. And I think that's where most people fall short when they're just getting started, is you have to get the volume in, and we underestimate how much effort it's going to take. So, all right, looks like we got a couple more questions coming down the pipe, guys. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments below here. All right, let me see where we left off here. Okay, Easy Lawn Care. Let me throw it up on the screen here. It says, do you offer full service packages year round? So for our recurring services, we just tell the customer like, hey, it's a year round program. So like the mowing is ideally year round. We do winter services in the winter time frame. And then the weed control services, we just tell them, hey, it's every 6 weeks. So our program is 8 applications a year. And we are completely a la carte, which basically means that you as the customer, or them as the customer, does not pay unless the service is completed. And so if we come out and, or like, let's say it rains all week and it's just like downpouring all week and we can't get out there to mow and we're super backed up, we'll let them know, hey, we were unable to get out there for the mowing service. The good news is you're not going to get billed for that visit because we were never able to get out there. And so, yeah, we're completely a la carte. We just do it pay per visit, and then we bill daily also. So like some customer or some businesses wait to bill each week or each month. I don't want to go back out there and service the lawn if their card is not going to go through. Why? Because instead of it having a $50 outstanding invoice, if they get a weed control service, that might be $75 or $100. Now it's going to be $150 that we're out. So we immediately pause their services when their card does not go through. We stop it immediately. We bill daily. All right. Coastal, my man, says, I'm 13, trying to start my lawn mowing services. So I would ask you, Coastal, what are the actionable steps that you're doing to get new customers? I think when you're 13 years old, if you were like me, I didn't have money. But do you have a printer at the house? Do you have a neighbor that has a printer? Can you print off pieces of paper? Just print off 100 pieces of paper. And sometimes, to be honest, guys, if you're really ambitious, you don't even need the flyer. Start going door to door. Knock on the door. At 13 years old, man. In fact, you know what? You know what's funny about this? Oh my goodness. I got to tell you guys a story here. And listen to me, because this is good. All right. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, Larissa comes to me in the kitchen and she goes, yeah, so somebody rang our doorbell. And so I went out there and it was like this little kid, and he came up to me and was like, hey, missus, can I mow your lawn? And like, obviously we own a lawn care company, so our lawn looks amazing. There's like no weeds in it. It's dark green. And so she's like, no, I'm sorry, but maybe you should go ask the neighbor across the street. And so it brought me back to when I was a kid, and I was like, oh man, like logically speaking, it'd be like, yeah, we don't really want to like a younger kid to like mow our lawn just because they like mess it up. But to be honest, I think what would be more valuable, like if I was the one that was out there to spark the seed of this entrepreneur, this young kid who's like, hey, mommy, I want money. And she's like, well, go out and mow some lawns. If I really believe if I was the one out there that answered the door when that little kid and was like, hey, can I mow your lawn? I would have been like, look, you can mow this front section. I'll give you $20, which is great money for that kid, to show him that it can be done. And I think that, and even if he messed it up and he messed up the edge lines or he scalped the lawn or something like that, I think me giving him the opportunity to make that $20 to mow that section of the lawn would, like, I think potentially change his life, because it did for me. And once I was able to do that, um, I don't know. It brought me back. So I thought that was a really cool story. I wanted to share that with you guys here. So, all right, easy lawn care. So what does your follow-up process look like for estimates? We have too many in pending, unfortunately. All right, so this is a very good question because what we failed to do. I think, to be honest, our first 3 years in business, we did a bad job at this. What does our follow-up process look like? We have just recently somewhat dialed this in. I think there is still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, so we could probably get better, but I'll share with you what we do. So, um, for one, we use Copilot. Immediately when we get when we send the estimate out, we send it in an email, and then we have an automation that's linked to the texting form as well. So all we have to do is send it in an email, and it will fire off the estimate in a text form. So we hit them right off the bat with an email and a text. It says, "Hey, your new estimate with military lawn cuts is available. Click here to view." And then just click accept to get on the schedule. So day one, like immediately, boom, fires off an email and a text. Then 48 hours later, so 2 days later, if it's still in pending because they maybe looked at it or didn't open it or whatever, then it will send them a reminder that says, "Hey, just wanted to check in with you, follow up." We try not to use the word follow up because that kind of sounds like we're desperate, but like, "Hey, just want to check in with you. Creating some urgency. Our schedule. We obviously can't serve everybody. There's a limited amount of trucks and employees we have, so our schedule does get pretty full quickly. Um, you know, just wanted to see if you wanted to get on the schedule. So, starting this week or next week, just click accept on the estimate to get on the schedule." So 48 hours, it sends a text out. Again, the reason why in fact, we don't even send the email because what we have found is there is a drastic statistical fall off when you just send an email. Ideally, we probably could just send, we could do both, but and that's probably where the improvement is. But we just send out another text because text I know they get and they open it. It's like literally 75. I think it's like 60 to 70% of the communication is opened more when it's text versus email. Email's like 1/3. And so your rate basically doubles to triples when you send it out in text. So hopefully you have texting capabilities. Um, but yeah, that would be that. And then we send another one out at 1 week that basically just says, "Hey, your estimate is going to expire soon." The reason, so we really touch point them 3 times within the first 7 days. The reason why we do that is because within 72 hours is the likelihood most statistically the highest of when they will actually accept the estimate. Once you get past like 7 to 10 days, the fall off of that it goes very minimal, down to like 15 to 20%. And then when you wait like 2 weeks, it goes it goes down to like 5%. It's so instead of like wasting the time. Oh, also that I didn't put in here, what we have implemented with our general managers, they are very diligent. It's very, very important. We're starting to put this in their daily task. And this is one of the improvements that we really are leaning into as of the last year that we didn't do for the first 3 years that probably shot us in the foot more times than not. Calling them. There is a you have to call them. Like you have to. And ideally, estimate goes out, you must call them the next day. If you wait 2-3 days, huge fall off. Calling them the next day, or if possible, you do the estimate in the morning, and by the time you get back in the office in the afternoon, you call them like, "Hey, I sent you the estimate." But the problem with that though is they're like, "Well, I haven't gotten a chance to look at it." So what we have found to be most effective is 24 hours later, we must call them. If we can dial that in, it helps the close ratio significantly. Great question. All right, Easy Lawn Care says, were you able to set up a customer onboarding automation yet? Saw on Facebook group based on Mike's video, would love to implement this as well. Okay, so yes, but it's not perfect. One of in fact, a really super helpful member in the Copilot group, his name's Derek, helped me out set this up. There is some slight discrepancies with it that because we offer weed control and mowing, and this is a little deep for some people, but like it doesn't work perfectly because they could actually uncheck the weed control and click accept on the estimate, and that's the trigger. But we don't service people that just want mowing. So when that happens, we have to tell them like, hey, I saw you just clicked mowing. Unfortunately, we can't, our services are more full services. So that's where it gets kind of weird. But what we're looking at implementing is on day one, we send them basically a policy and fees email of like, hey, or like a welcome, potentially maybe a video of like, hey, it's Will with Military Lawn Cuts. We just want to let you know, welcome to our family. We look forward to serving you for many years. And if you ever need us or if you ever have any problems, we encourage you guys to let us know. Don't just ghost us and leave us and cancel. Our goal is to provide you with the highest quality of services. So if there's a problem, let us know. We can update your notes, your job notes, your visit notes. We can mark things for the crews. We can adjust things. If you just want weed control in the front because it's too expensive and you don't want the full yard, we could do that. Giving them some kind of maybe a 60-second video, intro video, I think would be great. Also telling them how they can get a hold of you. So for us, we have an AI answering service that basically answers our phones 24/7. So guess what? At any point, anytime, any day, you can call us. Leave us a voicemail. It will get to the main office. You can also text us. You can also email us, showing them that it's okay to, like, we encourage if there's a problem to reach out and let us know. Doing that on day one, putting the policy and fees in there, I think is important for people that may complain about the taxes and stuff. And then a watering recommendation on day one would probably be, so there's a lot like on day one. And then I actually had this temporarily built out. 2 weeks later, we would send up like just a check-in, like, hey, after 14 days, just wanted to check in. How have services been? Let us know. Let us be proactive. If there's a problem, we don't want them to contact us. We want to reach out to them. How are things going so far? You've been on our program for 14 days. You've gotten at least a mow or at least a weed control or maybe a landscape service. How has it been? And I think at that point, if we address that, you may have some current concerns come down the pipe, but now we can address it before the customer just leaving and going out the back door. We can be like, oh, okay, you didn't like the way that they didn't weed eat, the cracks in the driveway. Great. We can update that in the notes. So moving forward, that should get better. So at day 14, doing like a how have we been doing? Day 30, we would send something along the lines of like, hey, these are by the way, we appreciate you as our customer. Every 30 days, or not every 30 days, at 30-day mark, we would say, hey, look, these are the other services that we offer. Just if you ever need anything, we do aeration services. We do leaf cleanup services. We do mulch installation. So if you need new mulch, like providing value that they don't have to go to somebody else, they can call us, a reliable professional company, and get them taken care of. So and then after that, maybe at the 90-day mark, you would ask for a review. We built out a really cool email that says like, hey, can you take 30 seconds, give us some feedback? And it's got a green smiley of like, have your services been great so far? And then it says like in green, like yes, with a smiley, and then frowny face, like red, being like, no, I'm not happy with my services. And then depending on how they select that, if they select the yes, it will take them straight to Google to leave us a 5-star review. And then if they click no, it goes to an internal jot form that basically says, star 1 through 5, and like give us details. So that way, if there's a problem and they leave us a 1 or 2 or 3 stars, then we will actually get that internally and we can call them immediately and hopefully fix it. So something like that, like the first 90-day onboarding. Great question, man. All right. So what's the AI answering service? Is that expensive? It is not. It's $60 a month. It's phenomenal. The answering service is called Good Call. Highly recommend it. For anybody that's out in the field, that's busy, that's swamped, that literally can't answer the phone calls, it is right now to date and for the last 2 to 3 weeks answering 100% of our incoming calls. 100%. Even when our office manager is in the office Monday through Friday. We call it Sergeant Green because we're a military company. Sergeant Green answers the phone. And if there's a bigger problem, it will transfer it to Elizabeth, who is our office manager. If they want a new quote, guess what? It sends them a link to fill out a quote. Like, it's very, very cool, guys. Anybody that's out there that's trying to keep admin costs down, or your solo operator, oh my goodness, man. It's called Good Call. It's an AI answering service. Check it out. It's pretty cool. So, all right. We're almost wrapping up here, guys. We're at 45 minutes. I want to leave you guys with this. If you guys don't have any other questions, if you do, put them in the comments below. I watched a podcast, maybe a podcast, I guess, with Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest of all time football player, 7 Super Bowl rings, came back. I think it was down 27 points in the Atlanta Super Bowl, Atlanta and the Patriots. Just phenomenal. Like, his mindset, just no matter how beat down you are, like, you're never out of the game. And, that's really inspired me. But he did, I think Patrick Bet David, he did a podcast, like a live thing with him, a couple months back. And, he asked Tom Brady, he's like, hey man, like, what do you think separates you? Like, how did you get all this success? Like, how did you get so far in your career? And, he basically sat down and what I took away from it was that every single day, him as a leader inspired other people to be the best versions of themselves that they could possibly be. And that was the root of the whole entire foundation of why I believe that he's had so much success in his profession, is because not just him daily improving, eating better, exercising better, understanding his body better with pliability, all this stuff that he's doing, but pushing the people around him that he loves, his team members, his teammates that are around him, and just pushing them to be better each and every day, guys. That I think was big. So I hopefully for you guys, you guys are constantly improving, constantly learning, listening to audiobooks, jumping on live sessions like this, spending Saturdays with me. Hopefully this helps you guys. And I want to encourage you guys, obviously, now that most of us are after spring rush, but keep pushing the pedal to the floor. This is the Q3 and Q4 is when most of the profits come from lawn businesses. So just make sure you guys are not trying to coast into the fall. Keep pushing forward. Keep trying to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can. And I guarantee you you will flourish from doing that, becoming the best version of yourself that you possibly can. And so hopefully this helps you guys. Thanks so much for everybody spending your Saturday with me. I'm so sorry I couldn't get it going on the Facebook side. I will, again, that'll be one thing that I need to improve on, is try to get that going on the Facebook side. But guys, thank you so much. If you guys are watching this at a later date, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time.